Hey everyone, and welcome back. Before we start doing user research for problems we've identified earlier, let's go through the most popular methods to conduct the research. Specifically, we will explore 10 of the following research methods: in-depth interviews with existing or prospective customers or the company's internal stakeholders, contextual interviews, diary studies, participatory design, user journey mapping, usability study, card sorting, event tracking, A/B testing, and customer surveys. Let's go over every method one by one. An in-depth interview is a method that doesn't require a detailed introduction, since all of us know what an interview is. During the in-depth one-on-one interview, an interviewer, for the case of user research, a researcher, meets with interviewees, research participants, to discuss what the participant thinks about a specific topic in question. For example, maybe I do a series of interviews to figure out why a product feature isn't used as I initially expected. During the interviews, I could learn that users don't understand the purpose of the feature and how they're supposed to use it. Having this information, I could think of how to change the feature to make it more explicit and clear, or I could decide to get rid of it. Knowing how to do interviews is a powerful skill you'll definitely need as a PM. Next is a contextual interview. The contextual interview is another research method that is somewhat close to the in-depth interviews. During the contextual interview, you watch and listen as the user works, and you ask questions as the user navigates through your product. The benefit of the contextual interview is that you see the user's environment and the existing technology they work with. The next method is diary studies. It implies that participants are asked to keep a diary and log specific information about activities being studied. Diary studies help understand long-term user behaviors such as habits, perceptions, or motivations. For example, you can use a diary study to determine what motivates someone to act. Why did someone order an Uber rather than taking a bus? How did they feel when they decided to stop in for a cup of coffee? Depending on the length of a diary study, you can get closer to the nuanced thoughts and attitudes that impact the decision-making process. A fourth research method is participatory design. Participants are given special tools like paper, sticky notes, pen and pencils, and other basic supplies, or even Lego blocks, to demonstrate their ideal experience that reveals what matters to them the most. For example, to understand how a user values certain product features, you can plan a simple buy-feature game, where participants are given a limited budget of artificial money and asked to buy a feature based on that budget. I love this type of interactive research since, as you move beyond conversation into collaboration, you could uncover valuable insights that you wouldn't have gained in other types of research. Next is user journey mapping. This is a widespread research technique that implies a visualization of a process that a person goes through to achieve a goal. Let's come back to my previous example with the real estate industry in Singapore. Imagine that you are a product manager of a real estate portal and you want to find some new opportunities to make a difference for potential renters and home buyers. By creating a journey map for the property selection process, you can discover challenges users have in the process and subsequently come up with product improvement ideas. Another research method is usability study. Usability studies are sessions where participants actually use the product or a prototype to achieve a goal. The usability test helps the product team assess the product's effectiveness and efficiency and the satisfaction of its users. Think of usability study as a way to tell you where you are with product development process from the user's point of view. Let's move on to the following research method. It's card sorting. Card sorting is a technique that involves asking users to organize information into logical groups. The process looks like this. Users receive a series of labeled cards. Their task is to organize and sort them into groups that they think are appropriate. To conduct the card sorting, you can use actual cards, pieces of paper, or one of several online card sorting software tools. Card sorting is an effective technique that helps design workflows, menu structures, or website navigation paths. The next method is event tracking. It's always helpful to understand how people are using your product. To do so, you can observe how they interact with the product and what actions they take. We call these actions events, and the process of recording these events event tracking. For For example, signups, logins, downloads, form submissions, clicks, scrolls. These are just some of the events you can make sense of. Event tracking is a common way of analyzing users' behavior and sourcing product opportunities for many companies, especially those in B2C or B2B SaaS business. This is because they have a large user base to make these observations statistically significant and valuable. Okay, two more methods to go. A/B testing. It is a popular method of testing different product designs by randomly assigning groups of users to interact with each design and measuring the effect of these assignments on user behavior. Let's go over an example. Some time ago, visitors to Amazon.com noticed a slight difference in the product detail pages. Some saw the familiar two-button experience, where they could either add an item to their cart or click Buy Now to skip the shopping cart and move directly to the checkout experience. Other customers, however, saw just one call to action, the Add to Cart button. The e-commerce giant was doing an A/B test, experimenting with the number of buttons on the product pages to see which version resulted in more sales. The two buttons layout was deemed the winner and continues to be the standard experience on the site. And finally, customer surveys. Customer surveys are effective methods of finding a priority or scale of a problem, especially for those companies with a large user base that they have access to. For example, by doing a survey, we can answer what proportion of our users are impacted by a particular problem. We can do surveys in many forms. For instance, email surveys when participants are recruited from an email message, or intercept surveys when a survey is triggered during the use of a website or application. And that's it. We just covered 10 of the most popular research methods you should be familiar with as a PM. Let's briefly recap what they are. Contextual interviews, diary studies, participatory design, user journey mapping, usability study, cart sorting, event tracking, A/B testing, and customer surveys. In the next lecture, we'll continue talking about the research methods, and I'll explain how you can decide when to use each of these methods. I'll see you in the next video.